Hello and welcome to Your County. I'm your host, Lynne Turner Fitzgerald. Joining us today is Larry Ziler. He is the Director of IT for Yellowstone County. Thank you for being here.
Well,
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the county, too. I mean, you're new to the county administration.
Yes, just over 5 months now. I started June 2nd, so just still getting my feet under me a little bit, but really enjoying it so far. I've got a great team to work with, and everyone at the county is super accommodating, so it's really nice.
Good. All right. Well, if you don't mind, can we get a little background on Larry?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was born in Billings, Montana.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm a third generation Yellowstone County born, fourth generation Montanan. My grandfather, my dad, and I were all born in Yellowstone County. My great grandfather on my grandmother's side was born outside of Bozeman, and so we've been around the area for quite a while. I was raised in northern Wyoming in Sheridan.
Oh, okay.
We moved from Hardin, Montana, where my dad grew up, to Sheridan when I was about a year old. Graduated high school there, did college in South Dakota and here at MSUB. I spent a little bit of time in Washington, D.C. in my early and mid-20s, which is where I started as an IT professional, working with an environmental nonprofit, and have spent the last 29, almost 30 years now working
It wasn't
professionally
National
as IT.
Environmental Trust, was it?
No, it's called the Sierra Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Big. They're
and-
bigger than net.
Yeah,
They are.
And I worked in their legislative offices in Washington, D.C., just as an IT support person.
Okay.
I was there from 1998 until 2002, so I was there during the 9/11 activity and fun. That was quite the exciting time in life. When I moved there, the Bill Clinton trials were going on and impeachment, and when I left, it was still kind of the recovery from 9/11. Came home just because family was, mother wasn't doing great. I had a niece that was relatively newborn and wanted to be around family, so I came back to Billings, and I started working for a law firm here in town, regional law firm, and I spent 22 years there as their IT director before coming to the county.
Okay. Well, you have a passion for IT, it sounds like.
I think so. I think it's more of a passion for helping people.
Okay.
My family did introduce tech very early in our home. My parents bought our first computer, must have been 1983, 1984.
Nice.
It was an Apple IIe, one of the early Apple home computer systems. For the nerds out there, it had 64K of RAM. And no hard drives. Everything was done in pretty much basic programming language back then. My dad would buy PC magazines that had basic code, and you would spend hours just copying this code into the computer, and then going through and debugging your typos and all this to get simple little applications to run, like making a smiley face appear on a screen or a robot or something like that.
And so you're watching all this, kind of catching the bug from your dad, it sounds like.
We were doing it together.
Oh, nice.
He was, for an old Montana farm kid, he was very tech progressive.
Right.
He grew up in Bighorn County. He didn't have indoor plumbing in their home until he was in high school, when he and his dad built a new farmhouse and put indoor plumbing in it at that time. So he was very tech progressive.
I guess.
And my mom was a legal professional, and she worked as a personal assistant and that, and she did a lot of time on technology. So the tech bug started early. For me, as a career, it's been more of the idea of, I understand it, and most people don't, and I really enjoy helping people with it and finding ways to make tech actually work.
Okay, so if I have an issue with my Mac laptop, I'll just come to you.
Absolutely.
No, I'll tell you, it's funny. I love this thing, and it's like 11 or 12 years old, way past useful. I have a new one, but I don't like the new one.
Right.
So I take it to these professionals, and they put everything over onto the new laptop like I'm really going to do it.
Yeah.
Last time I took it in, the old one in, he said, if you bring this back, I'm going to take a sledgehammer to it. And I'm still using it.
It's comfort.
It is. I like the keypad.
Technology.
I like all of it.
Yeah, everything that we do, people are creatures of habit, and we have our comfort zone. And so that's the one thing I think that big tech companies really forget about when they're taking the end user into effect is there's comfort levels that everybody has, even the younger generation that people
You're right
poke fun
about
at.
that. No, you're right about that. It seems like their goal is to outdo the other guy.
It is. And really want to outdo the other guy. Maybe you have something that works functionally and you debug a little bit better instead of worrying about rounding the corners in the images. Or,
Right.
there's certain levels of technology. And like I said, even the younger generations that are always, they refer to us as boomers or fogies or whatever. They have their comfort levels as well. They're not just a generation of techies. They're neophytes in the millennials and other groups as well. So I think that's where I really enjoy tech, is trying to find ways to keep people comfortable with it.
Well, this may not be in your purview, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because you mentioned the younger people and their constant use. You didn't say this, but I worry about their constant use of social media and the impact it has on their lives, and the very notion that these programs are deliberately addictive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there any way to get around that? Is there any way to...
I don't know how one really gets around that other than taking responsibility for themselves, which is a rare thing in this age, I think, as it is. My wife and I make a conscious effort to sit at the dinner table each night together. It's just the two of us and a cat, our Lily. But, there's no cell phones. We're not YouTubing or watching TikToks or any of the rest of this.
We have a
human interaction. We actually play board games together at night during dinner while we're eating, so there is a little bit of an interruption, but it's an interactive interruption. I think people miss that. It's become such commonplace to just have your phone out looking and doing something, or in business feeling like you have to be responding to emails instantly. You have to stay up to speed on everything. You got to be reading. I see it in my own team with members when we have staff meetings with a group of 12 people who should be, excited to spend time together and dedicating that to where they're checking their phone. I don't know if they're looking at email or if they're looking at TikToks or text messages or what they're doing. We just don't take that time to engage. And then we also don't take the time to realize that some of the information that we're looking at is
bogus.
Yeah, it's bogus. It's
totally
bogus.
It's
deceptive. It's not bound in any scientific fact or truth anywhere. And so much of it can be AI generated now. You see so much of this material. And I hear people say, the AI stuff, well, I know how to tell if it's AI. I'm like, I don't know. I remember in my 20s, there was a TV commercial for a beer company where and this was 30 years ago, but they had John Wayne in this beer commercial talking to a bunch of Army officers, and that 20 years ago looked pretty decent. So you can't tell me that AI is not fooling people today.
No, it's on fire too, and it's just more and more and more every day. I'm wondering, in a system as large as Yellowstone County, because all of that falls to you, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
We're really responsible for making sure that the systems, the information of our county residents, the information of our county government, everything is secured and protected from that, and that the people of our county government are using those systems safely. That we're not using unsafe AIs for
How do you
generating.
know, though? How do you tell the difference?
There's a lot of ways that we can secure access to things, that we can prevent people from reaching AI. So all of our systems are ultimately protected by a firewall, and you can take steps to protect or prevent people from getting outside the county network to specific locations. So we can block them from accessing, malicious or unvalidated AI utilities. Now, there's nothing we can do to prevent them from generating that on their own somewhere else and bringing it in some fashion from outside. I mean, there are things that we can do to try to prevent, but ultimately are the biggest or weakest link in any network infrastructure of technology is going to be the end users. We're kind of at the mercy of what people are knowledgeable about doing and not doing, and how malicious they might be.
Yeah, yeah. So there is opportunity for sabotage.
Yeah.
How often do you check? Are you on it all the time?
No, we don't run. We do a lot of things, and this is where AI also plays into the positives of things.
Okay.
AI can help a lot with monitoring the traffic for us and flagging things that look suspicious. So there are AI utilities that will monitor all of our web traffic and say, hey, this is probably not something you want people to be accessing. Or, we're seeing a lot of, we can get reports generated where we're seeing a lot of people going to this website, to collect data. It's an AI site. Maybe it's worth taking a look at to either vet and approve it or block it outright. It also watches that traffic for malicious code or content coming in and out. It can watch what people are doing with their USBs. So if you're copying data onto a stick or trying to email it into yourself. So it's amazing the lengths that some people who are frustrated by technology and say they don't understand it will come up with very clever ways to try to circumvent the restrictions that you have in place.
Really?
Yeah. I've worked with some people in the past who were just absolutely angry about having to use technology and frustrated with how it goes, but would come up with ingenious methodologies to get around it.
Really?
Like technical methodologies.
Well, so, but I think the public, we feel vulnerable when places like the IRS can get hacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's just it. And almost every incident that you see of some kind of security thing is happening because of some human failure somewhere. It's simple things. There are things where it's very advanced and sophisticated. I don't want to dumb it down. Mm-hmm. But the best method that any malicious actor has is to trick somebody into letting them in. And that's really ultimately what starts happening with places like the IRS or federal government items, county governments, individuals. Right. Somebody gets very clever with a social engineering ploy and tricks somebody into clicking on something or putting something into the system that allows them access.
Because the county actually contains files with individual information about citizens.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. The county has, just like any government entity, we have a wealth of data that's private. Mm-hmm. We also have a wealth of data that's public.
Sure.
And so we have to create sometimes holes within our environment to allow people to access the public data. So on the inside, we have to take very extreme measures to try to segregate that data from things that need to be protected. Your personal information that might be in there. So if your dates of birth, social security numbers, things like that you have to put on every government document that you fill out, are stored there, and they need to be encrypted and protected and kept away from the data that is then generally available to the public.
Well, you've come in an interesting time for the county as they're moving, and so I'm wondering how that impacts your day-to-day life.
Other than the logistical end of it, it's not changing things very much. It's improving quite a bit. The county has done a fantastic job with redesigning the Miller building into the Ostland building. Mm-hmm. They have provided good technical resources, so they've done a good job of providing modern data center accessibility, modern cabling, modern building or physical security controls, camera systems, things like that to start with a good ground-up infrastructure. My team is actually active already. We're not scheduled to start moving people in until early December, but we're already setting up the technology in that building and switches and network interfaces to get everything active to really minimize the downtime and interruption in county government functions during the move process. So right now, our biggest thing that we're working through is meeting with the people who are going to move, letting them know what to expect, letting them know what we're going to take care of them for them, talking with people about how they want their equipment set up on their new desks, coordinating for large equipment moves like photocopiers and things like that. But I've done enough of the move processes in my previous job. The law firm I worked at did a lot of building relocations. They had 11 locations overall. Moved every single one of them at least one time in the 22 years that I was there.
So this is not your first rodeo?
No, moving has actually become a very prominent thing in my career, and I sometimes wonder if that's not one of the key things that they were thinking about when they brought me on.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
I bet it was, yeah. So I'm wondering, each department within Yellowstone County, I'm thinking, for instance, the county attorney's office, are there different protocols for protecting that information or somehow
Absolutely.
utilizing it?
They're much different type of things for, say, protecting the county attorneys, the sheriff's office, the detention center. So those three in particular, as well as like youth services, they fall under the regulations of CJIS, the Criminal Justice Information System Security. Can be much more stringent than, say, what is required by, say, the clerk and recorder's office. Now, not to diminish the privacy needs of those.
No, they've got lots of records too.
Yeah, they have lots of records, but they don't have as many governing bodies dictating to them what they need to follow.
So this sounds federal. Is this a federal?
It is.
Okay.
It's very much federal. So a lot of the things that we do through law enforcement, so the criminal databases are provided by federal agencies, and they require very stringent technology security to be in place for us to access them.
Wow, okay. So I want to go back to the phishing schemes and all the badness. Where are these people? Is that they
they're
just
everywhere.
do it every day, all day long?
Yeah, and there's so many different things that are going on with those. Most of them these days are targeted at trying to gain money or information. There are some people that still do these things for just malicious giggles, I guess you would call it. They get a kick out of whether or not they can do it. One that's going on, and I had a call on this very recently. I don't know how widespread it is throughout the community, but I had a call from somebody a few weekends ago indicating that they were a deputy with the county sheriff's office and that there was a warrant out for my arrest for failure to appear for federal court jury duty.
I think I did hear about that. You're not the only one.
And they were probably very convincing for somebody who's not familiar with the sheriff's department. As the IT director for the county, one of the things I started very early in trying to unify my team is I work from the sheriff's office 2 days a week so that I'm also familiar with the things that they have going on. So I know the detectives, I know the deputies, I know the people over there. The names didn't ring true. The language they used didn't hit right.
What kind of phone number showed up?
It was an unavailable phone number. So it didn't even show up as potential spam or that. It just was an unavailable number, so it was being blocked. The voicemails that they left and the information that they would give me was always a local billings number. And anytime I called it back trying to get information or that, it would be a voicemail. And then somebody would immediately call me back again from
that took some work, didn't it?
Yeah, they spent a lot of time. So these people are...
What's the point, though? What are they trying to get from you?
I think ultimately what they're trying to, in that scam, is they're trying to convince me to pay a fine instead of being arrested.
Online, pay a fine online.
So you give me your credit card information, submit this, give me, and their spiel is something about the judge has looked at your criminal history and your background and just doesn't feel that you're the type of person that would do this on purpose. They're offering you an opportunity to just pay a fine rather than serve any jail time.
Your new best friend.
Right. And it was all great until I finally asked him, it's like, well, are you at the sheriff's office now? I'd love to come down and talk to you in person. I'm a county employee. I can be there in a few minutes and I have access to the building. And they immediately hung up on me.
Click.
So that one's hard to tell if they're local. A lot of these are coming out of Asia. There are different areas in that. Some of them, the people making the phone calls, are actually victims themselves. There are lots of instances.
Like forced into service?
Yeah, they're effectively been lured somewhere under the guise of being offered employment, and then held captive and forced to, place phone calls and do these malicious items.
It's an industry then,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
very much. It's a very large criminal industry, and it's it's probably akin to like the sex trafficking industry in how complicated and complex it is of who's running it and where the money's going.
Right. What advice would you have for just average citizens to protect themselves and their home and their family against some of these scams?
The first advice I have for people is do not click anything.
Yeah.
Anytime that you get an email message or any kind of information that comes through,
Don't respond.
Don't click, don't reply, don't do anything
Right.
with any of the content of that message. If it's a message from somebody claiming to be your banking institute, look up your banking institute's information on their website, get it off of your credit or debit card, call them directly. Don't call phone numbers that come from the emails. If it's somebody claiming to be the IRS, first of all, the IRS will never communicate with you via email without first sending you some type of letter through the U.S. Postal Service.
And they don't make phone calls, do they?
Not unless it's a prearranged or you're already engaged someone.
Yeah.
And even then, I think bureaucracy is so much that people just don't want to call people anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. It's not clicking, not responding, not giving any information out until you do some verification. If it's something that you're receiving in a phone call, ask for a phone number, tell them you'll call them back, get all the information you can from them without providing them anything, and then verify with local law enforcement. Call and ask the sheriff's office. They have detectives there who are working on these kinds of things. Call, and we have local FBI, we have the Billings Police Department.
So the sheriff's department and police department kind of track these trends then?
Yes,
they
very
know,
much.
okay.
And so like the one that I mentioned, I know that there are deputies or detectives at the sheriff's office who have looked into this because people have fallen victim to it and things have happened. So
Yeah.
just do your due diligence. Make sure that you know 100% what something is before you click on it.
Yeah. Lately, I've been very popular with some business loan committee somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they call every day. Congratulations. And it's a person. It's
Yeah.
not a, well, I mean, who knows? It could be AI, I guess.
Yeah, and there's been instances of that too. The AI voices are getting very convincing.
Mm-hmm. You know, we just have about 5 minutes left, Larry, and so I'm going to ask you to look in your crystal ball.
Uh-huh.
What do you think the next big thing is for IT?
Wow, there's so many things with the county IT that I want to get accomplished. I think probably the biggest and most exciting one that I really have right now, Judge Carter reached out to me last week in inquiring about AI and really wanting to get something going with at least effectively putting a solid AI policy in place for the county and seeing how we can develop that more. I really feel like AI, it has its problems, it has its upsides, it has its downsides. There's very little regulation in that. It's one of those things we need to get out ahead of, and it's one of those things that the governments, county governments, local governments, businesses, industries, the ones that get out ahead of it the soonest and are out there in the forefront are the ones that are going to fare the best.
How do you navigate that?
What's the saying? How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Yeah. I've got a little bit of exposure with AI over the years. I'm very AI progressive. I don't see it going away, and I feel like it's something we have to address. So I was previously a member of the Montana Bar Association Technology Committee. So I've done a lot of presentations on AI and its usage. I've attended lots of seminars that they've hosted with others presenting on it. So it's really just assimilating the information and making your best educated decisions on how to do things. It's not so much about worrying about what it can and can't do, is finding those little bits and pieces that can actually help you little bits at a time and building an AI strategy.
Yeah, okay. How big is your team, by the way?
So counting myself, there are 12 of us.
Wow.
We unfortunately lost our web developer who designed the fabulous new county website that went live a few months ago, but he left us to pursue some other endeavors, so we'll be recruiting in that area. We may shake some things up a little bit there with, rather than a dedicated web developer, is trying to actually implement a development team
Oh, good.
of
Okay.
people who might be able to develop software or
That is a
find
vast
other cool
improvement,
things. It
isn't
is a
it?
huge improvement
Yeah.
over the county website. I don't know how long ago the previous one was, but
You can search your tax records.
yeah, everything
all that
on there
stuff.
is just amazing, and that's I think that is the timing of it was great in my coming on board, even though the project started before I was here, because it gave us something fresh and technology to put out there. That, hey, look, your county IT dollars are going to something useful. We're looking at ways, to provide you with services that you can access readily available without having to traipse down to the new Osland building or the courthouse or that.
Yeah.
And so we've got projects like that going on. The Public Works Department is in the process of getting some online permitting software, so you can apply
great.
for your permits and pay for all that stuff online and do it. And I'm sure that we'll work with Hank in the treasurer's office to do lots of things there. Really IT
Do you ever see
focuses.
online voting?
I have a hard time feeling that the public will ever accept online voting.
I know, yeah.
I think there are plenty of things out there that could secure and provide it, but the public trust isn't there with voting as it is right now.
No, it's
I mean, if anything has fractured and divided our country in the last 10 to 15 years, it's been the failure to provide public trust in voting from both sides.
right.
Yeah,
I know.
neither side trusts what's going on voting right now.
I know.
The great thing is Yellowstone County has a fantastic new elections director in Dana Cosby, and she's got some wonderful ideas and
Yeah.
things, and I think she'll do fantastic things
I
for
think
us.
she's going to be on this program next month because they
Fantastic.
wanted to give her a little time to get that election out of the way before
Yeah.
she jumps
Well,
into this
and
kind of thing.
she came on board maybe 6 weeks before
know.
the election,
Yeah,
so
I know.
she dove in, and she's handled it like a champion. She's
Good.
fantastic.
Well, Larry, this has been interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Come back anytime you like.
I would appreciate that. Thanks.
All right, Larry Ziler, Director of IT for Yellowstone County. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.